I guess today we'd really call it domestic abuse. But then he was more of a bully. I mean, he was an alcoholic, but he was also a wonderful father, a good provider, really a pretty good husband, and lots of fun. I mean, he was really an exciting guy in a good way. But he encouraged me to fly. And so we both took flying lessons. But on our very first day at the local airport, I was the only female there, including my husband, my son, or our son, and all the support staff. Everybody was male. And it was pretty much that way for most of my career. I remember seeing a female commercial pilot student in one of the Northern Ontario bases where I worked. But when I started in 1979, it was only 6 years after the first 3 female pilots were hired by commercial air carriers in North America, 2 in America and 1 in Canada. So our numbers were pretty small, and it was kind of lonely, really. Many years ago, someone said, we'll know that we've achieved success when people stop calling us female pilots. It's just assumed that if the person is a pilot, that person is male. But to distinguish those 6% of women who fly commercially, we're female pilots. And I think that's a big point. But our other people, the guys that I worked with, they all wore ties. And I said, I don't want to wear a tie. I don't want to be a man. I'm happy being female. I like being female. I just want to fly the airplane.
Yeah.
So they had some kind of a little cravat sort of thing for me in the same pattern. I still do have the tie, I guess, because it never got worn, or almost never got worn. I hated it. I just absolutely hated it.
Yeah, I had a phase where I loved to wear ties. Like I love to wear suits and a tie. But it's like it's really suffocating in a way. It's like choking. It's like really tight, and it's like it's kind of it's
rigid.
blocking the throat.
I think so. It's very rigid. It's very uncomfortable. The cravat is much, much nicer, and I felt comfortable wearing that for sure. Our numbers have grown. I wrote the book in part when I realized that I was right in assuming that numbers of commercial female pilots had increased, but I was devastated to learn that the percentages are still very low.